So I didn't know what to do fan fiction about, and then I remembered there is a TV show that the last time I missed an episode of it was 1994. So I've spent nearly 3/4 of my life watching EastEnders. And the person who introduced me to EastEnders is here tonight. It's my mum. And she is about to be so proud. Now, I am not going to ask who watches EastEnders, because frankly, you all should. And after this, even if you don't, you definitely will. The sun rose early on Albert Square that day, and things were quiet. All that could be heard was the sound of Kat Slater's heels clicking across the pavement as she strode home from another misguided sexual encounter. She had so many of these due to her issues with men. The only other sound that could be heard was the bin trucks. "Keep it down, would ya?" hissed Kat, embarrassed because Albert Square was not yet sex positive enough to handle her. The bin lorry drivers didn't respond because if they did, the BBC would have to pay them a walk-on fee. I tentatively made my way across the square to my new house. I was living at number 43. As I went through my back gate, an odious man popped his head over the fence. He was the shape of a sack full of apples and wore a striped rugby shirt from Burton's Menswear. "All right," he said. "Oh, hi. I guess we're neighbours now," I said. "Well, nice to meet you. I'm Ian Beale. And just so you know, my son Bobby is being released from prison soon. He's one of only 2 of my kids who is still alive." Wow, overshare, Ian, I thought. "That guy is weird," I said out loud, but very quietly. The last thing I'd want to do is offend my new neighbour, as he seemed very sensitive and also had obviously lost several children. Letting myself into my new house, I realised I was parched and decided that what I needed was a cup of tea. I'd seen a cafe just round the corner. And by the way, geographically, all this is accurate. I'd seen a cafe just round the corner and figured it would soon be open. In the cafe, a happy lady with blonde hair and a voice that sounded ravaged by 1,000 cigarettes was serving tea and bacon sandwiches. "Hi, I'm new here in Albert Square. 1 cup of tea, please." "Hi, I'm Kathy. No problem. Coming right up." "Oh, Kathy. Haha, Kath's calf," I quipped, and we both laughed for 3 minutes. Friends already. "Where have you moved to?" Kathy said, wiping her eyes as we finally stopped our peals of laughter. "Have you moved into one of those new flats off Bridge Street?" "No," I answered, my ribs aching from giggles. "I'm at number 43. "That's next door to where I live with my son Ian," Kathy exclaimed. "I met him," I said. "He told me one of his only still living children is coming out of prison soon." Kathy's eyes grew sad. "Yes, Bobby. He killed his sister Lucy, who is also my granddaughter." "I'm so sorry," I said, meaning it too. "Oh, well, can't be helped." Kathy was sunny once more and probably wouldn't get serious again for a few episodes, which is what they call days in that part of London. "I'll bring your tea over to you." I took a seat and took in my surroundings. Over by the toilet was an old lady clutching a Bible. She looked like a skeleton with skin on it. She noticed me looking over. "Hello, dear," she said warmly. "You look troubled, are you?" "Me? Oh, I'm new in Albert Square, actually, but..." "Oh, it doesn't matter." I looked down at my hands. "Whatever's troubling you, it's best to just get it out, dear. That's what my old friend Dr. Legg would have said if he were still alive, but he ain't. He died." Died recently, it was very moving. "I guess I do have a few worries," I said. There was something about this old woman that made me feel like I could pour out all my problems to her, and I have literally no idea why, but everybody must have felt that way around her. Tell me your secrets and I'll tell you no lies, forsooth. Matthew chapter 9, verse 17. My name's Dot Cotton, by the way. Hi, Dot. Well, I've just been made redundant, and I thought a change of scenery would do me good here in East London in Zone 2, where the average house price is about £800,000. You must all be very rich. Oh, no, dear. Regular folk here in Albert Square, 45 seconds from the tube. But people regularly still drive. You'll notice that. I'm sorry to hear that you've lost your job, but Jesus' love is all around. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. Love is all around me, and so the feeling grows. Luke chapter 4, verse 14. Just then, a man walked in. He was around 5'7", with a perfectly spherical head and skin as red as tomato puree. He wore a black shirt and black trousers like a West End musical director. All right, Kath, he said breathily. Bacon sarnie when you're ready. In a minute... Oh, they got the same voice. In a minute, Phil. Kathy brought my tea over to me. Who is that? I asked her. Oh, that's Phil, my ex-husband and father of my gay son, Ben, who has disappeared, but that's fine. She breezed off. This Phil guy, for some reason that I just couldn't understand, and probably nobody outside of Albert Square could either, he was irresistible. I can't imagine how any woman couldn't want him. He took a wad of cash from his pocket. Yeah. Exactly. And paid for his sandwich. Seeing me, he said, "Watcha, Phil Mitchell." And I felt my insides turn to jelly. "Hi," I managed to stammer. I felt myself turn red. I was now 65% as red as him. "She's new to Albert Square," said Dot to Phil, helpfully, even her ancient eyes filling with lust at the sight of Phil Mitchell. Couldn't you help her out with a job, Phil?" "What, down the arches or snooker halls? Give over," said Phil. I gasped. He was a business owner. Could get you a couple of shifts down the E20. I'd have to ask my wife Sharon, the owner. Wife? Just my luck. I was just imagining what goddess could have ensnared Phil Mitchell after ridiculously happy Kathy obviously lost him, when I heard a voice that sounded like golden syrup drenching shreddies. Are my ears burning? This must be Sharon. Endless legs were topped by a black miniskirt sat beneath a body the shape of an upside-down triangle. Her ash-blonde hair cascaded down her ample bosom like a waterfall of white-hot angel delight. I could never hold a candle to her. Few women could. "Got any shifts going down the E20? Phil gruffed at his wife, whose lips twitched like a cat having a dream about chasing a wild rabbit. "Yes, sure. How about tonight?" "Thanks," I managed. Wow, Albert Square was so generous. I already had a job without even having to fill in an application form. This would only happen on Albert Square or the 1950s. Sharon swished out of the cafe, as mysterious as an episode of Cracker, but at the beginning of the episode when it's still a mystery. Phil didn't watch her go. His eyes were fixed on me. I felt myself turn redder still. 20% more red, and I'd be only 5% less red than Phil Mitchell himself. I'm sorry about your missing gay son, Ben, I blurted out. Why did I say that? Major embarrassment. Phil turned 15% more red, so that he was now 40% redder than me. Phil, be careful, your newish liver, Kathy murmured. He had a new liver? No wonder he seemed so dangerous and brooding. Then his face softened and his redness returned to its more neutral level of 100%. Yeah, well, these things happen. With that, he took his bacon sandwich with hands weathered from owning multiple businesses and left the cafe. Your son, Kathy, where do you think he's gone? I asked inquisitively. I don't know, love, Kathy gravelled. When people leave Albert Square in the old days, they used to go on the bill. But now they tend to end up in West End musicals. Wherever my son Ben is, I know that when he finally returns, he'll look completely different. It's been 7 different actors have played Ben Mitchell. She looked wistful. I smiled, finished my tea, and made my way back to my new abode. My feelings of positivity dissipated, though, as I kept remembering Phil Mitchell and how I couldn't have him. As I turned my key in my front door, I could smell cigarette smoke. That's odd, I thought. I live alone and don't smoke. Then I saw her, a cube-shaped woman in a fuchsia trench coat with earrings as big as shoes, sat at my kitchen table, smoking. It was my third cousin, twice removed, Pat Butcher. Pat? I cried. But you've been dead 7 years. They did bring Pat back as a ghost in one episode. So this is canon. She waggled her head. I've come back as a ghost before on Albert Square, she drawled. It's true. I guess the showrunners thought they could get away with it. Oh, Pat, I immediately started weeping. What do I do? Don't tell me. She held up a nicotine-stained ghost hand. You've instantly fallen in love with Phil Mitchell. Yes, Pat, I have. But Sharon, if you want him, Pat interrupted, suddenly serious. You go get him, girl. Really, Pat? I yearned. Who knows, love? Maybe he'll take you. No, I gasped. Up west. Pat purred. Up the what? I quipped boredly. Pat chuckled, causing her earrings to rattle like Marley's chains. And then, just then, I heard the soft piano of Julia's theme, which only ever played on very special endings of episodes. And with that, Pat disappeared. In just a few episodes, aka days, I vowed, as the music swelled, I'll have my fill. Credits.